You know what? Let's move on from that to black conservatives versus white liberals. A lot of you wanted me to watch this fucking video. It's time.
12th episode of Middle Ground, and we want you to help us decide what the next 112 episodes will be. Join our Middle Ground Patreon.
Damn, Hasan Piker versus Ben Shapiro. I'm fucking so down for that.
Community and make Middle Ground with.
White Americans have way more advantages than black Americans.
I think I'm a rarity here.
It would seem so.
Do white Americans have more advantages because they're white, or just white Americans have advantages because of historic factors? I think that people want to argue at the end of the day over whether it's because you're white or not. I think that the answer is because you're white in the past, and that's how it kind of carries over to today. You know, even in times of the United States.
For the record, before people freak the fuck out, guys, Destiny, the gnome that is in front of your fucking screens, has a metric ton of fucked up takes, specifically as it pertains to race issues, yada, yada, yada. None of that matters when he is performing in a contrarian manner against black conservatives. Everyone in his audience will understand this. Most of his haters who have seen any of his content will understand this as well. I'm sure he's going to still have some weird takes defending certain aspects, but he is so incredibly fucking like geared towards being contrarian. Yes, no matter what, he will abso-fucking-lutely most likely rip the black conservatives a new asshole in a way that many of you will probably agree with, and maybe in some ways that he won't, regardless of what you know about his background or what you know about his own perspective. The worst aspect of this, for me in particular, or for many of you that enjoy my content, is that anytime he gains like a level of prominence off of something, he will inevitably use that to be like, also fuck Hasan, let's cut millions of videos about how shitty he is.
Most of the girls that end up messaging me usually come from Hasan's stream. And I usually ask them exactly the question, like, how the fuck did you go from watching Hasan to me? Because it's like we're so different politically. And almost every single conversation is usually like, oh, well, I'd heard Hasan mention you on stream before. But I didn't really know anything about you. I just assumed you were crazy. And then like a video got linked in the YouTube recommendation, or I saw something, and it seemed like you were way more reasonable than I'd originally heard.
No matter what happens, I'm going to obviously be objective about his performance here, which I assume is going to be ripping a new asshole into most of these dudes.
It's history where black people have tried to build wealth, and something that's upsetting to me is when conservatives talk about how we can't blame the past for what's happening in the present. That is true to some extent, but then the next breath they'll talk about how important it is to have dual parent household, how important it is to have a strong family, to have responsibility passed on from parent to child. And we've seen in the past that because of racial issues, that process has been severely disrupted.
The funny thing is that agreeing with all these things is when I did my research when I was younger, which arrived me to my standpoint of being a conservative, because I believed it was racist, Democrat, liberal ideologies and policies dating all the way back to the 1800s, all the way up to the 1960s, and then the purported big switch. But I think it was more so when Democrats decided to be a bit more cloak and dagger about their true opinions of black people and be more...
Yeah, and wait, what are Republicans doing in that situation then? I love this take. Now, there's two ways that this could go. He could be a Clarence Thomas style black conservative who's like, everyone's racist across the board. I'm going to get mine. And conservatives allow me to get mine, and at least they spit on my face directly. Whereas white liberals are just as racist as white conservatives. They just like will soft pedal it and find more aesthetically appropriate ways of criticizing me, a black man. Now, one of the very famous ways that white liberals in particular engage in like super racist commentary is by pointing to the exact same structures of oppression that exist in every community, including white communities, of course, as a singular thing that black men engage in. I like to call it the root.com style academic criteria, which is when people will be like, yeah, black men are horrifically aggressive towards gay people or trans people or black women. And that in and of itself is, of course, a phenomena that exists in every community, but singling out black people and then making it seem as though it's a issue specifically with black men or a part of black culture in and of itself is just a more appropriate way, a more civil way for the same kind of white supremacist attitudes and sentiments to be expressed by liberals as well as racist white people on the Republican side of the spectrum. It's just still stereotyping. It's just done in a more like a liberal way. So now that we talked about that, let's continue.
Secretive and more, oh, we want to help you by, doing these things and seeing them as
Doing
inferior.
what things?
Affirmative action, welfare, all sorts.
Is he wearing a Hunter Biden hat? I love that. Okay, I like this guy immediately.
So wait,
Things that
welfare.
eventually
So
ruin our culture and places where we are now.
So
but
giving-
I want to get back to the history of it because we're talking
well, I just
about.
want to make sure we're clear. Giving them money hurt them, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, giving them, because if your father's out of the home, that's when we give you the money. If you're living in this
so
housing,
then give them
if
the
you're
money
living
while
in
the
this
dad's
housing
in,
rent-free,
well, then
that's
give
how
them
you
the
get
money
more of
while
the
the
money.
dad's in the home.
If you're working
So
this
give
amount of
them the-
hours and getting blessed in this amount of
That's such a good response. Holy shit. So he's like, okay, give him money while the dad's in the home.
dollars, you're getting money
you're
from the
throwing
government.
the
Yes,
baby-
it is
you're
incentivizing.
throwing the baby out with the
it is-
bathwater.
I don't even know what that means in this scenario because yes,
You're
okay, you
throwing
want to talk
out-
about throwing baby?
Dude, he is getting, dude, oh my God, it's fucked up. This is racist. You can't have a black teenager on to get fucking eviscerated by a bunch of white people like this. That's racist, man. Jubilee, we're 2 minutes in, and this kid is getting fucking eviscerated. That is so messed up. This is a hate crime, I think. It's messed up. Jubilee's racist. I'll say it.
Baby is
Okay,
out with
let
the
me break this
bathwater.
down for
Margaret
you.
Sanger wanted to exterminate the black
I mean, if anything, is child abuse, okay? 100%.
race because she thought they were weeds. So yeah, we can literally talk about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That's what Margaret Sanger, that's what Democrat policies wanted to do.
What is he doing? He's doing the talking points. He went, Biden hat is in the chat. Oh, it's Alec Gunter. Oh, shit. I remember you. Who's that handsome guy in the red shirt and the Hunter Biden hat? Thanks for saying you like me. I'm in the Frankie shirt. Hello, that's me, man. Ree. Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay, well, you fucked up. You're racist, by the way. You can't be destroying him that quickly. You literally had one ready in the fucking chamber, dog. What is happening? Dial it back a little bit. Anyway, having said that, immediately, as soon as he got overwhelmed with such a simple fact, which is, is welfare ruining single family parents or creating single family homes in the black community? There's two avenues you can go to, which is one, why is it not ruining white families then? Or why is there a higher percentage of welfare recipients in the black community versus the white community? If that's the case, maybe there's some systemic reasons as to why that is happening. Or the alternative, which Alec did, is much better in my opinion, which is, okay, well then why won't we just give money to parents in general and not only single family households?
To my people. So that's why I feel so strongly about it, because it is these policies that date back centuries that were built off of the death and poverty of my people.
Let's take a breath.
Sure. I'm breathing.
Okay.
So a lot of babies aren't, but I am,
Okay.
sadly.
A lot of babies are.
When I say throw the baby out with the bathwater, you want to completely get rid of welfare, okay? Or at least I don't want to put that on you haven't said that, but the conservative apparatus does, clearly. So giving money to a group of people does not hurt them.
I mean,
It
sure, if
can't.
you're talking about a lottery,
It
just
literally
take
can't.
money. But
Yes.
there are strings
Take money.
attached to that money.
Take all the
there
money.
are strings attached
Give
to
them
that
millions. Make them all millionaires. I don't care. Giving money to black people does not hurt them.
And that has
thinking
not
that-
happened, though. That has not happened.
What do you mean?
That has not happened.
No.
It hasn't been a
You're
reparations.
saying
It hasn't been this or that. It has
you're
been
saying
a welfare program,
welfare
Great
was designed.
Societies Act, that
Welfare
was built
was-
off of the idea of, hey, we get these families split up, we get these
So
people
then let
living
them
here.
keep the family together and keep all the money.
I mean,
There you go.
I guess
Boom,
so,
done.
but I guarantee you,
I guess
there's
so.
no way that
Why
would
would you
happen.
not advocate for that?
So in your, I guess, research about history of the
Dude, that's such a good way to fucking destroy him right out of the gate. Oh my God. At that moment, when you can't concede, you're doing it purely because you're debating, and you can't, this is why debates are fucking bullshit for the most part. Guys, debates are not about the truth. Debates are about rhetorically overpowering your interlocutors and ritualistically humiliating them so that some of the people in the middle can move to your direction, because they're not in it to arrive at what the truth is, but they're in it to see a winner. They like the blood sport. He can't concede because that's weakness. That's losing the debate. But of course, that is the most reasonable thing to say in that situation. If you care about black people as a black person, doesn't matter if you're fucking black conservative or not, you can't literally sit there and be like, no, you're fucking wrong. It would be bad. Now, here's the thing. The black conservative that has at least read enough Thomas Sowell would have a better retort, which would be to relegate back to the classic conservative tropes of, well, actually welfare across the board, not just for black people, but everyone is making them lazy. Welfare is making everybody lazy. What about opportunities? Or what about fucking welfare stopping motivation dead in its tracks? Stuff like that. Now, I'm sure Alec, being a 26-month HasanAbi head, already knows exactly what the retort to that is as well, but at least you're continuing the conversation without conceding.
This country and everything. Do you find like the Reconstruction era and like the failures of like what it wanted to be and then what it ended up being, and then which led into, had downstream effects to enter into the Jim Crow era? And
bro, there ain't no way there are two motherfuckers with One Piece posters on this. There ain't no fucking way. Two? What's happening?
You have policies like redlining that influence, how schools are funded. The downstream effects of slavery, do you think put black people as generally in a worse off position than white Americans?
I think generation by generation, the effects of slavery have been diluted, but generation by generation, the effects of racism, welfare-based policies, and things of that nature became even more great. So in the 1880s or so, when we had our first black members of Congress, which were indeed Republicans, I think that was a great start for things. But obviously, we had terrible things that happened, like the Tulsa massacre, among black people being chased out of their homes by the KKK.
Sure.
All funded by the Democrat Party, all supported by the Democrat Party.
Well, I need to stop you.
Dude, I love this. I love this. He's like, the only time black people were fucked over in this country was when it was the Dixiecrats doing. It's like, bro, who fucking cares what party they're a part of? They're white supremacists, dumbass. Like, yeah, okay, they were in the fucking Democratic Party. This is where liberalism and like defending liberalism or defending the Democratic Party inevitably falls short of what is necessary. It's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, they were fucking racist. Like, what do you mean? Fine. I agree with that. We're not fucking playing in a team. Like, I'm not a part of that fucking team, dog. I'm not trying to defend this team. It's so incredibly stupid when people are just like, yeah, the Democrats did this in 1800s. And it's like, okay, even if you don't believe that there was a party switch or the Southern strategy is fake, let's say, who has a Confederate flag bumper sticker on their truck when they're going over to drive and vote for a fucking Republican? It's Republicans. It's not fucking Democrats that are doing that shit. Republican politicians right now in present day American society are unironically defending the rights of Confederate generals and the right to be celebrated as though that's a right, even though it's not a right. Like, what the fuck? It makes no sense. You have to be literally a fucking idiot. Like, you have to be a complete fucking moron to be like, yeah, no, I think Democrats are still funding the Klan. It's like, okay, well, why are the fucking Klansmen running on the Republican Party ticket? There was a literal fucking Nazi in Illinois that won a quarter of the vote. Like an actual Nazi, like out and about. I'm saying like he was a part of the American Nazi Party and he ran in Illinois for the Republican seat and he won 25% of the fucking vote, dog. The fuck do you mean? Why is he not running on the Democratic Party ticket then?
Be there. Can you attribute not to the party but to the ideology? Because I think when you think, regardless of whatever the party switch was, traditionally conservative values did not like. That's more aligned with the
preservation of slavery,
more racist policies
It's
in this
very
country.
difficult
Like
to
very
compare 2020's conservatism to 1880s conservatism.
Wait, I don't get it. Like, was Abraham Lincoln conservative or not? Explain that to me. Like, okay, Abraham Lincoln, Republican Party. Is he conservative? Why is it the charter saying that they want to fucking abolish chattel slavery in the South and wage slavery in the North? Like, what's happening there? Like, do you think Abraham Lincoln, was he operating with a conservative principle and like the Confederates were the ones who were actually operating with the progressive principles in comparison to back then? Like, what does this take? Oh, God, it makes me so mad. Okay.
Oh, I was loving the one.
So personally, I feel like there's really only one thing that white people have a true advantage over black people with, and it's that white people are less likely to be forced into a box. It happens with black people onto other black people, but it especially happens with...
Yeah, that's right. I wonder why. Wait, hold on. Wait, I feel like this guy is going to deny systemic racism, right? Because he's a conservative. But like what he just described is one of the literal symptoms of systemic racism. If you are a part of a marginalized group, yes, you are boxed in to stereotypes that are negative, stereotypes that often justify your conditions of oppression. Extrapolate that over hundreds of years, and you literally arrive at the material foundation for systemic racism. Thank you. That's great. Thank you for the PragerU lesson, PragerU guy. that is just simply there as like a normal black conservative.
With white liberals onto black conservatives, where we are told that we are supposed to think a certain way, be a certain way, and if we're not, then we're called all these names like etc. And the worst of all is bootlicker, because I hate when a white liberal tells me as a black man that I'm a bootlicker, because then I ask, whose boot am I licking? Because you're telling me as a white person that me as a black person.
What do you mean? You are licking the boots of white supremacy. What's the point? What? Bro, I'm sorry. This is why I do end up triggering a lot of like way more conscious people on Twitter, especially whenever I talk about black conservatives, because they think I'm like reigniting white supremacist aspects to like dunk on like a black guy. And it's like a go ahead or something. It's not. I don't give a fuck what people say. If you are a conservative, doesn't matter if you're black, if you're a conservative, you can't fucking turn around and do identity politics. You're like, you're a white man. You're a white man calling me, a black guy, a bootlicker. Slavery much? It's like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're not a fucking 18-year-old college freshman who's exploring different sexual options in college and is like only now coming to understand the world. You can't talk like that. You're not allowed. You're a conservative. Be a fucking man. Be a fucking conservative. You understand me? You cannot do that. I hate when these motherfuckers on the conservative camp literally turn around and they're just like, oh, little old me. I'm over here justifying white supremacy as a black man, and you're denying me of my autonomy as a black man. It's called Bodies in Spaces, sweaty. Look it up. Like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. The fuck are you saying? There's no bodies in spaces here. You are an agent of white supremacy. Who gives a fuck? Oh my God, that is so fucking annoying. And then other dumb motherfuckers do actually go along with that, for the record, and that breaks my fucking brain. Nothing breaks my brain as hard as that shit. That guy has 6 cop friends, and I called him a bootlicker, but they clipped it out. They cut out the part where he says he has 6 cop friends, and in response, I pointed that out to him, and he said they are 6 very clean sets of boot right now. Oh, wow, that's crazy. I love the other part of this where it's like black conservatives love being like, the only racism is when people say that I'm an agent of white supremacy, but in like more embellished way. No one is giving anybody the go ahead to like call you the N-word or something, or variants of that. That's unacceptable. Bootlicker, on the other hand, is not like historically anti-black, which is a perfectly valid way to roll you, because that's precisely what you're doing.
And that I'm licking your boot because I don't think in this box that you want me to frame my mentality in.
Yes!
That to me is real racism. And that's what we—
Dude, I'm sorry. It's so monolithic, dude. Oh my God. Black conservatism has one purpose. At least Clarence Thomas is like kind of interesting. Black conservatism has one purpose, and that is to uphold white supremacy, because there is no other purpose for a black person in the eyes of the conservative sphere to like, they don't want to use you for anything. Liberals do this too, by the way. They did this with like fucking Bernie Sanders, where they're like, Bernie Sanders won't talk about prison reform, won't talk about criminal justice reform. Does he not care about black people? And he was like, what are you talking about? One, I have talked about that. And two, like universal healthcare access helps black people disproportionately due to need. That's how it works. Universal healthcare helps everybody, especially black people. This is fucking so stupid. It's not only talking about fucking the prison reform or criminal justice reform that impacts black people. It is a silly way to reframe the issue. So that is actually, in a way, unironically, very fucking, it's a little bit of liberal racism. I'm mad they deny me on this episode. Wait, Sean was trying to be a black conservative? What? Sean appearing in whiteface as a white liberal, or doing conservative face, also whiteface. I played it up so much too. No way.
We need to stop allowing to happen to us, because black people are so quick now to not branch out and to have new ways of thinking, or to go into careers like agriculture and these other career paths that black people don't typically get into. It's not because of racism stopping them from getting in there. It's because we're told for so long that you have to follow this path and you have to think a certain way.
I think.
Wait, what? Bro, did he say black people were not cast out from participating in agriculture? Are you fucking nuts? Wait, what? That's like the worst one you could pick. And no, I'm not doing like a slavery joke or something. That would be incredibly out of touch and probably racist. I'm talking very specifically, black people were forced out of farming. In the abolition of slavery, the only time black people were able to participate in agricultural output was literally around sharecropping and not unironically owning land. 40 acres and a fucking mule were a promise given to freed slaves that was not followed on. The only reparations were given in the United States of America literally was given to white farmers or white landowners who owned slaves. It was a payment of restitution for the slaves that were forcibly freed. That's so wild, especially because black farmers call for justice from the USDA. This happened recently, and literally Steven Crowder made fun of the black farmers. There is a racial gap in the agricultural industry. And when the USDA was like, we got to do something about this, we have to offer some kind of help to black farmers. We have to create programs that engage black people with agricultural production. And Steven Crowder was like, oh yeah, what are they going to farm? Hennessy? Like, I remember that. He's permanently fucking scarred in my mind. And he didn't do that voice, by the way. He did the fucking Chris Tucker voice because that's the only voice he has for black people. From Barack Obama to Morgan Freeman, anytime Steven Crowder tries to do the black voice, it's Chris Tucker. Let's continue.
I think America is a great place for a black person. I think I'm an American. Anything that's available to you is available to me and mine.
I've personally never experienced white people having way more privileges than me. Like, I'm sure you could find certain institutions where black people are treated differently, but in general, I don't think that I've missed out on anything because of being black. And if anything, it's given me more of a voice because people will want to hear what I say now because I'm black. So if anything, I have more of a platform now just on the basis of being a black conservative and saying what's not popular than I would if I was just a white person who was also conservative.
Wait, you can't do that. No, you just admitted it. What? You just gave the game away. Yeah. No, she literally recognizes. She's like, yeah, if I was some random white chick, like, you know, there's plenty of them out there, but like if I become the token, then like I get way more options, like way more opportunity. That's so funny. Why does she admit that? At least she's like open about it, I guess. Weirdly enough, there's like a clarity there, you know? She just straight up said it.